I'll tell you, this is 30 years for me in fire, and this is the latest, most active fire I've ever seen. And I go on a lot of fires. So that says something right there.
Well, don't you worry, because we're going to be talking about it even if no one else does. Because what's happening right now in Wyoming is arguably one of the biggest travesties we've seen so far. We all know what kind of madness they've been creating with the weather, but wildfires are a completely different animal, my friends. While they can hide behind natural causes for the hurricanes, they cannot do that with the once-in-a-century fire that's now raging in Wyoming and swallowing farmland without mercy. Of course, they're claiming it was all started by a lightning strike, but the facts just don't line up. As I've shown you earlier, park authorities are confirming that this is the biggest fire in Bighorn National Park in the last 100 plus years. In fact, the last wildfire grew big enough to only consume 18,000 acres. And yet here we have this hellfire, which has quickly burned down 75,000 acres. And even stranger is the fact that there are clear signs of information blackouts in the area because no large newspapers are really covering it. And as this tweet points out, the numbers don't make any sense either. Elk fire, Bighorn, Sheridan, Wyoming. The government has helped put a lid on this fire perhaps and has blocked real coverage. 75,969 acre fire. But 2 days ago, news said 73,000, and for that slow of fire, it just isn't possible for 16% containment. The math isn't mathing. To make this even more strange, all live cams are off. No current video even. On Watch Duty app that always links you to current events and live cams, but not this fire. It links all information back to government website information only. And he's not making things up. Just days ago, I myself reported that the fire had spread to 73,000 acres and it was quickly expanding at the time. Now, according to the authorities, it's only 16% contained, and yet this fire has not spread more than 3,000 acres. Now, I would love to believe those numbers, but I've been doing this for far too long to believe the information coming out of official channels, especially in a time like this. So I truly believe the numbers are much higher and someone just doesn't want the public to know about it. And I found a good video that goes into depth of all the strange things happening around this wildfire.
Can somebody tell me why the entire state of Wyoming is on fire right now and nobody even knows this? Multiple counties have been affected with over 100,000 acres on fire with zero containment. Now you're asking yourself, what is going on with these natural disasters and smart cities and land grabs? You guys, I looked into this one. This is the biggest one yet. First, let's start with where the biggest fires are, starting with the Elk fire with over 74,000 acres currently on fire. Elk is located in the Sheridan County, and the other counties on fire is the Telton County and the Fremont County with 58,000 acres combined with zero containment. This list shows all the fires that happened this year in Wyoming from the start date and containment date and what caused them. Some were caused by human activity and some, like this one, was caused by lightning, but I'll reserve judgment on that. But here's a weird thing about the last two. So the Telton County and the Fremont County actually merged together on October 5th, but started in August 16th. Now, it's not so much that the fires merge, that happens all the time, and these two counties are next to each other, but it's the timing. It's 2 months later, and you had multiple containments in between these fires. Now, you could say this is a land grab, with Wyoming being number 6 with the most land owned by the federal government with over 46%, but it's way more nefarious than that. Now, you remember that first county I showed you, Sheridan, with over 70,000 acres on fire? Yeah, they just found the biggest deposit of rare earth minerals worth $37 billion. Now the question is, does the government own this land? It says here the Sheridan County, Wyoming is a governmental entity that operates under the jurisdiction of the state of Wyoming, but it is not owned by the U.S. government. Now another question is, can the government take this land? It says the government can take private property during a disaster under the power of eminent domain, which allows for the acquisition of the property for public use provided that the owner is compensated. However, this typically occurs when the property is needed for emergency response efforts. Oh, like a fire caused by lightning? Got it. Oh, it doesn't stop there. So the company Wyoming Rare got $450 million from the feds for their Hollow Creek project because they found even more rare earth minerals on the other side of Wyoming. This is a tens of billions of dollars play because they said it's so big that it could be a world leader of how much minerals they have. You really have to ask yourself, how many coincidences have to line up before it's not a coincidence?
So even though this land falls under the federal jurisdiction, the government can't just sell it to the mines. So it looks like now they're using their scorched earth tactics to make the land uninhabitable so no one bats an eye when they gobble it up with eminent domain. And while it's true that the land in Wyoming is rich in rare earth minerals, I still believe it's the lithium mining mafia that's behind all of this. Because in a surprise to absolutely no one, the state of Wyoming also has substantial deposits of lithium. In fact, these deposits were discovered all the way back in 2013 when one article announced that America finds massive source of lithium in Wyoming. Now, this discovery was made during a geological survey which concluded there could be up to 18 million tons of lithium there, worth up to roughly $500 billion at current market prices. So basically, it's a race to get access to those hundreds of billions of dollars worth of lithium. With so much on the line, it's not surprising that there's already a bunch of mining operations taking place in Wyoming, and a lot more are in the planning stages. According to the Freedom Lithium Project website, the Freedom Lithium Project is in an easily accessible area located in the historic Copper Mountain Mining District with extensive pegmatite outcrops. The state of Wyoming is mining friendly and is the second biggest net domestic energy supplier. But an even bigger company that's trying to make a fortune from these lithium deposits is Chariot Corporation Limited. Its Black Mountain project is the largest one of the 6 mining operations it already has in the state of Wyoming, which makes it the biggest beneficiary from any kind of land sale that might occur in the aftermath of this wildfire.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they found 2.34 billion tons of neodymium in Wyoming? You know, a magnetic mineral which is pretty vital to computer technologies. Wouldn't it be crazy if Chariot Mining just found the first hard lithium deposits in Wyoming in the last month or so? Wouldn't it be crazy that while all these hurricanes are going on, there is a massive wildfire engulfing the mountains of Wyoming right now, which has burned over 78,000 acres? Wouldn't it be crazy if the media appears to be just ignoring the fact that there is this massive fire in Wyoming? Wouldn't it be crazy if Chariot's stock price has gone up nearly 40% in the last month? Wouldn't it be crazy if these massive fires are only 45 minutes away from Black Mountain, the main project of Chariot Mining Company? That would be crazy.
Now, while these mega mining corporations are busy trying to carve up the heaven that is Wyoming, the real victims are farmers who are trying their absolute best to save their animals and their crops. Moving on, let's talk about Acapulco, Mexico, which is known for being the party town for rich Americans. Well, unfortunately, it seems like a sudden change in direction from Hurricane John had absolutely decimated the town, and we're starting to see the real full scale of destruction in this area. In a future video, we're going to dive into this and really explore what's happening in Acapulco. And things aren't much better in other parts of the Mexican coast, which got hammered by the same hurricane.
Were you guys aware that this was also happening in Mexico around the same time that Hurricane Helene hit North Carolina? Y'all see what happened in Mexico? Why is it only people are talking about North Carolina? Look at that, y'all. Water just everywhere. Dirty, murky, muddy water everywhere. The whole town is literally flooded with water. This is Acapulco, Mexico. Look at that, y'all. Look at this. So apparently there was a storm off the coast of Acapulco over here, and that's all it was supposed to be, y'all. But as soon as it touched down, it literally jumped to a Category 3 hurricane. I didn't even know about this. Look at this, y'all. Mexico experienced about 9 feet of water. Look at this, y'all. Everybody's talking about the North Carolina, but nobody knows what's going on in Mexico. Look at this. In certain parts of Mexico, the water is up to your shoulders. And the crazy thing is, Mexico almost got hit again, but now Milton is literally doing a U-turn and coming to the East Coast. Look at that. See, they got to hold on to things. That's how deep the water is. Did y'all know about this in Mexico? Bro, you see? Look at this, y'all. Cars are literally buried. This is literally the mud flood. This is, again, the mud flood. That's what I'm saying, man. I had no idea this was going on in Mexico because everybody is talking about Hurricane Helene in the United States. But yeah, man, Mexico got it bad, y'all. Wow. Look at that. Still going, y'all.
And while the entire North American continent seems to be dealing with one disaster after another, Bill Gates is apparently ready to turn Tampa, Florida into one of his famous 15-minute cities. Now, this isn't happening overnight, as the man has been planning it for more than 10 years, as you can see from this news report.
Up with a well-known billionaire to create what could be Florida's most lavish shopping and entertainment district right here in Tampa Bay. Our Edward Lawrence is uncovering new details about the enormous investment and joins us live in Tampa to explain what it all means tonight. Edward?
Well, right now, these are just vacant lots, and over there is the Amalie Arena. But using that as a focal point, the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning envisions building shops and restaurants and entertainment here on these 25 acres between the waterfront and downtown Tampa. The only investor in a company called Cascade, Bill Gates. Lightning CEO Todd Lewicki says something on this scale needed someone else with deeper pockets than the Tampa Bay Lightning owner.
I guess we all know now why they were seeing chemtrails all over Florida only a day before Hurricane Milton ravaged the state.
October 8th, 2024, day before Milton is supposed to hit, heading north to Panama City Beach. Look at what they're doing. They're chemtrailing freaking crap out of us. Look at this.
And if these news stories are true, Mr. Gates certainly has the means to create a disaster to pave the way for his 15-minute city.
When you hear the name Bill Gates, you probably think Microsoft founder, but now the billionaire may be known as the Hurricane Tamer. Gates is listed as one of 13 inventors on a patent filed for hurricane prevention methods. Hurricanes gain strength from condensation driven by warm surface water, which leads to greater wind speeds. Gates and his team plan to use a fleet of ships to cool warm surface water by mixing it with colder water from greater depths. They hope this will sap energy from growing storms, leading to weaker, less devastating hurricanes. The patent, which isn't expected to be approved for another 18 months, was submitted by C-REIT LLC, a sub-entity of an Intellectual Ventures and an invention acquisition and development firm.
I think we can all say that even if he's not taming the hurricanes, he sure has a lot of reasons to escalate them. That's going to bring an end to today's video. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.